Microphone test 1 2 1 2. Okay, we're ready. Let's do it. Hi guys, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. This is Lya for the podcast Blessing or Lesson. So today's episode number 2. Hope you had a nice week. Hope you missed me a little bit. I missed you guys. I'm really excited about that new project of mine. You can subscribe, you can give like some thumbs up, you can comment, you can share your stories, you can share the podcast, and nothing. Boom. And before we start, I have to remind you, I'm a wellness creative, means that I helped you into your wellness journey. Arts and craft means painting, drawing, writing, dance and body movement, postures, self-confidence, self-love, modeling, coordinating your physical memory and your brain memory. But for that, just check on my website www.lyapouleyy.com. You're gonna have more information. So today I'm super excited to talk about the second story that I have for you. This one is a personal one again. The third one's not going to be personal. I'm going to share one of my friend's story. But let's start with mine again. It's not about love today. It is about studies and life and money and all of that. So back then I was a student at the time. And this story is both, I guess, a blessing and a lesson, but mostly a blessing in disguise. Definitely in disguise. Because I think that was one of the lowest point of my life, to be honest with you, at the time. Then you grow up and you're like, not that it wasn't that bad, because it was really bad, but I'm still here. I overcame and I'm stronger and better, and my life is more amazing than what I've thought I would have as a life. So I'm not disappointed about it, but say that sometimes maybe I wonder what would my life be if this wouldn't happen, because I'm really happy about what I'm having today. It's okay. As a high school student, I was studying economy and sociology. I wanted to be a product designer and a therapist and a dancer. But I chosen for product design. So I enrolled to that wonderful school, Strat College, at ici les Moulineaux, and it was a great school. Pretty expensive, but I was willing to do a student loan, whatever it took to graduate to that school. Just like to situate, it was summer 2004. Just came back from the US. That was my very first time in the US. I bought a lot of hip-hop clothes. I was like fresh to death. And so I went to that school. The first day at school, I've been preparing that first day at school because I knew I would meet up with people who are not from the same environment as mine. I grew up in a project. People, they would say, in a very poor neighborhood, probably, but when everybody is more or less like you don't really see that it's such a poor neighborhood. And honestly, my mom, she did her best for us not to feel poor, or she really did her best. But I knew that it was another social category over there. Most of the kids there, they didn't have to do a student loan because fortunately for them, they had parents who had the sufficient incomes for that. So I was one of the few who had a student loan and who tried to have a student loan. And it was, I think, in that private university, in total we were like 360 students. not even 40 girls, to be honest. And this school had the reputation for doing some automotive design and special design, so very about cars, engines, cars, motorcycles, space, so it wasn't really women oriented, it wasn't fashion design at all. But I loved that school so bad. So I think we were less than 40 ladies over there. um, Not even 20 Asians. um, I think we were like, if I remember, like 13 Arabics and 11 black people. So just for you to situate the kind of school I was at. But don't get me wrong, I've never experienced racism or anything like that over there. I have to make this disclaimer, it's really important. But I was afraid because I knew I wouldn't meet anybody. I thought I would never meet anybody like me, um, because I wasn't born with money. As I said, I'm from the project. I'm from, as we said in France, the 9-3. I grew up in a neighborhood called Bobigny. I don't know. I think the reputation is still bad, but who knows. So I was stressing out. I was wondering, should I get dressed, more school appropriate, or should I just get dressed the way I want to get dressed? Meaning Lya, meaning baggies, Air Forces One, baggy t-shirts. So I was thinking a lot about my outfit, and then I was like, freak it, I'm just gonna be me, and if they like me, they like me. If they don't like me, they don't like me. But I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I'm not gonna lie to myself. I am who I am, meaning a young lady who loves hip-hop so bad. So I came the first day. In my class we were 5 girls, and 5 girls, I think we had like 1 or 2 Arabic guy. We were like three or four black people. So we like killed the ratio of the entire school just in my class. And I remember that girl, she's mixed, but I put her in like the black people category. She came to me and she was like, oh hey, oh I think your name was Lya, blah blah blah, and we started to talk and we became friends like that. So this year at my school was one of the bestest year in my entire school life, or maybe the best. No, I think the best was in 94. That's another story. So that year, 2004, 10 years later, was the best. And that was so great because I felt like I was the mascot of that school, because I was so not a stereotype. I was a stereotype and not a stereotype, because I was this black girl from the project who's so into hip hop and all of that. But also this black girl from the project into hip hop. And I was dancing as well, so cliche. But I was smart, I was educated. Thank mom. My mom, she gave me a really good education. She raised me pretty well. I had really good manners and all of that. And I think for that school, they just loved that I wasn't fitting in the box. So even like the director of the school, the dean, as you said here, he loved me. Like when anybody could ask for anything, he was saying no. And me, when I was asking for something, I didn't even need to say why I needed this or that. He just said yes to everything I was asking for. Like one day I organized video game night, I remember. So I wanted to get a video projector, and ask the guys to bring, PlayStations and all of that, food, drinks, and we were just occupy the school. And at first I sent some other kids to ask him, and he said no. He just it was like no. And me, when I came to him, I'm like, hi sir, I would like to ask for a video projector, and I was like trying to build a lie. he was like, no need explanation, Lya, just take it. I was like, yay! So that was cool. That was one of the things I implemented in that school. Or we had I forgot how you call that, but kind of a kayaking race, and nobody wanted to participate, and I was like, yeah, I'm ready, I want to participate, and I built a team. And it was a race with other schools, but other also professionals like firemen, security guys, and we ended up being second. We had the second position, so that was just like amazing. Nobody could believe it. um, I was on the top of it, of course. And I remember the firemen, they won it, and they were so impressed by us that they decided to give us their prize. So it was like a voucher, $100 or something like that. So that was really really nice. But that was just, I'm going out of my story right now. So that school, I loved it because I learned a lot. I learned something different from the project. I learned a different mentality. I learned everything was different. And I remember at the very beginning of the year, I was at the bottom five. I was one of the worst students because I thought I could draw and all of that. When I was in high school, I was drawing some Dragon Ball Z stuff. I thought I was like killing it. And when I went to that school, a lot of the students, they already had a really strong background in drawing, painting, and all of that. And I just realized how whack I was. That really hurt my hurt my soul. And I remember one of my head teacher one day he took me apart and he was like, Lya, I need to talk to you because I've never seen somebody who was such a bad drawer. Like, I don't know, like your vision is so bad, so wrong. Like, there is something wrong with your brain. And he said, if you have to work like 5 times more than anybody else because you will never make it. And he said, you have to work hard. If you don't work hard, I really strongly recommend you to change your career. I was devastated. I was shocked. I was like, oh my God, I'm not designed for that. I'm not designed for design. But I don't know, like his words resonated to me. And when we started the painting part at the second semester, I blowed out. I became like one of the best of my class. So from the bottom 5, I reached the top 5. That was just amazing. And the students, the teachers, everybody was shocked by my evolution because I was really good. So that was the bright side of the story. The ugly side of the story was that, as I said, I come from a poor neighborhood and I was supposed to get a loan, but unfortunately, the people around me weren't supportive at all, and they did their best to tear me down, and I couldn't get a loan. But I was still trying, and I had some friends that I met in Switzerland. They were willing to help me out with that, and I would never be enough thankful, even if it didn't work out. Sorry, I'm scratching myself. Even if it didn't work out, but they were willing to help me. And the problem is, one of the people around me who didn't want me to succeed. I'm not gonna give names, as I said. People who know you from my youngest age, they know that story. And I remember with one of my, I don't even consider her as one of my best friend. I consider her as my daughter. And we used to call that the dragon, because your life is kind of okay and out of nowhere something crazy happened, and we used to call that the dragon. So somebody asked me for some help one day, that person needed some checks to buy some furnitures for his apartment. And I was young and naive. I was 18 at the time, and I said, okay, I'm gonna help you. And this person was teaming with a scam artist to do whatever things they've been doing. So I gave that person the amount of $40,000 of checks, and the person was like, don't worry, before they cash the check, I'm gonna put the money on your bank account. And I was like, okay, cool, it works. And that was really somebody I trusted, and it was family, so that's why I trusted the person. But the scam artist just cashed all those checks at the same time. So, the school was pressuring me because I couldn't pay for it. And that was really, really bad. So I was really stressed out. That affected my studies. I wasn't serene. I wasn't in peace. That was really, really, really hard. And when I've been asking for some help to my family, nobody, except two people, of course, except my mom and one of my siblings, my brother, the one just before me, they were the only one who were supporting me. And all the others, nobody was supporting me. People were mocking me, were laughing at me. They were like, yeah, that's what it is when you're trying to think that you're better than us. Why did you want to go to a private university? Why did you want to do better stuff? I really heard that. Like, my closer people, that's what they told me at that time. Like, why are you trying to do better? Like, what are you trying to prove? You want to prove that you can do better than us? You're not better than us, so you're gonna stay in the mediocrity with us. And I was like, wow. And some of them even told me, yeah, I'm not gonna help you. I'm not gonna help you getting a student loan. I'm not gonna help you at all. But then they were claiming, oh, my kids, when they're gonna be grown enough, yeah, I'm gonna help them having a student loan. I'm gonna help them going to the best school, to the best private universities. And they were telling me that in front of my face, what I was struggling to get out of that big shit I was into because I was helping a family member. So that was hard. I was really depressed. The school kicked me out, because I didn't pay. I think they didn't want to, but at the end of the day, that's business, and I understand that. And trust me, I was miserable. I was depressed. I was 18, 19. At this age, you just think that your life is over, that I will never succeed in anything. I will never be able to do anything with my life. I was sad. Like, I was beyond sad. And I developed some diseases because that was psychosomatic. And honestly, what really helped me, and I'm so happy and blessed that I have passions in my life, because hip-hop saved me. I know it sounds cliche, but people who've been saved by hip-hop, they will understand what I'm talking about. I was so low, I was so down and miserable and all of that. I couldn't be sadder, I couldn't be more depressed, I couldn't be, I don't know. I just decided one day, I don't even remember how, but I went to like an event. I love 90s hip hop. I talk about hip hop, not just rap or just dance. I love how rappers used to rap in the 90s. I love the energy of rap music in the 90s. I love the melodies, especially from New York. I love the dance. Before we call that hype, we used to call that rap dance. I love the rap dance. I love the graffiti. I love the DJing. I love everything about hip hop in the 90s and the 80s too, but like really the 90s. And I started a little bit dancing hip hop in the 90s. I performed with like some very great and famous dancers back then. I was very fortunate for that. And I was listening to a lot of, Nas, A Tribe Called Quest, Wu-Tang, Dabush Babies, Smith and Wesson, and all of that. All of these guys who saved me. And they really, even if my English wasn't as good as nowadays, but even if I wasn't even focusing on the lyrics, but I could feel the energy. I could feel the anger, I could feel the passion, the pain, the love, the joy, everything that hip hop brought into my life. So I just started to be, and at this time also I forgot to mention, but hip hop culture really started to be mainstream. Rap really started to be mainstream, and in 2004 I wasn't listening to rap anymore because I didn't understand what happened in 2000. I really didn't understand in the rap scene. So I was more listening to some soul music, a little of R&B, but I wasn't such a big back then, but nowadays R&B person. But I was, listening to some Destiny's Child, of course, Lya, my favorite, Alicia Keys, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, but I was more hip hop, and I and for some reasons, like in 2004, it's like I thought I didn't have the right to listen to my so-called old school hip hop music. Like, F that. That's what I love. I'm going to listen to that. And when I was really depressed, that helped me. So I was trying to find some hip hop event, could be dance related, graffiti art related, music related, everything hip hop related. And I started hip hop dance in 2001 with my crew at the time. Dangerous. Shout out to the girls and Stevens and Mehdi. And I knew the dancers, a lot of dancers. They were practicing at Châtelet-Léal, at the Mold Gallery, and also at La Défense and Gare de Lyon. So I just started to go there on my own. Yeah, we met a lot of people and just had dancers and music and energy and vibe and hip hop and styles and all of that. So they didn't know anything about my life, and I wasn't there for that. I was just trying to find a way to dance my problem off. That's what I was doing. So I was very shy for years. I wasn't really able to dance in front of people, but just the fact that I could, move a little bit, share experience and talk hip hop with people, that was just what I needed. And I was considered as the pretty girls of the hip hop dance scene, so it was really easy for me to have a lot of people who come and talk to me. I met a lot of friends, even if their interest was different. Like, they wanted more, and me, I just wanted friendship. But back then, guys, they were okay with you just being their friends, even if you wouldn't be their girlfriend. So I met a lot of friends, and I started to go to some hip hop parties. The first ones I went to didn't really like it because it didn't touch my heart, but I forgot how. But one day I think I saw like that flyer, Hip Hop Love Soul, and I started to go to that party alone, and I just loved it. Had everything that I needed. Music lovers, so hip hop music lovers, soul music lovers, new soul music lovers, R&B music lovers, dancers, people who were just enjoying, and that's all I needed. And then I discovered the golden years parties, and those parties were like the best parties of my life. And then I discovered the Jazzific parties, the Why Not parties, and much more. And that really helped me to overcome my sadness and my pains and my sorrows, because as I said, none of those people, they knew about my life, but they just brought to my life what I needed. And at this time I needed love and support, even if it was unconscious support, but that's what I needed. And instead of looking for that love, in men or sex or whatever, I found that love in hip hop, in the hip hop community. So I was dancing more. I was I wasn't painting and drawing because the fact that I had to stop school, that turned off my desire, my love, my passion for the arts. The only arts I was focusing on was dancing. And I was dancing, dancing, dancing every night. I was clubbing, partying every week, even sometimes 5 days a week, 5 nights a week. But I needed it, you know. And with my friends, we're like a group of 20 people. And none of us were drinking or smoking or anything. Music really made us high. We got high through the music, you know. And we were like, or at the end of the night or the morning, because in France, like the parties went up to 6 a.m. So our like t-shirts were like wet, you know, like so wet. We were like sweating like crazy, and then we were just going to um, any restaurants who were open, and we had like some crepes, some grec. We call that here in the U.S. like chicken gyro and stuff like that. And that really saved me because I found um, a motivation again. You know, I found a motivation to fight for my life again, to do better for my life again. And without hip hop, I would have never had that. So I was hiding to my family that I had some plans to go abroad studying in UK. So I found a design university in London, and I was working for like a full year. I was working in Bershka, you know, like clothing store. And I hated that job, but I met some really cool people I'm still in touch with for a few months, and then I was trying to make money, and then I was and then I found other way to make money, like teaching dance. And 2 weeks before I was supposed to travel to the UK, I told my family, I'm like, yeah, hey guys, I'm leaving. My mom knew, my brother, the one just before me, knew, and my nephew knew. But nobody else knew that I was about to leave. So it was a shock for them, but I didn't tell none of my family members except those three ones. Could be siblings, uncles, aunts, cousins, anybody, because I just didn't want them to mess up with my plans again, you know. So I went to UK, I studied over there, I had my bachelor degree in product design. Was really hard, but like I needed to be away. And in UK I discovered another way of living. I discovered also that degrees doesn't make you who you are. It's not because you have the degrees that you are a better person than somebody who doesn't have. And it's also about the skills, the brain, the heart, the humility, you know, the humbleness and all of that. And I came back because my mom was very sick, and there was no way for me to stay away while my mom was sick. So I came back to France, and I came back to my hip hop people, my hip hop community. And when my mom was sick, I needed another escape, you know, because it was really hard. It was a really hard time. So I was always with my hip hop people, clubbing, dancing, clubbing, dancing. I was going to all the hip hop events I could go to, hip hop shows, exhibitions, dance battles, everything hip hop, old school hip hop related. Back then we didn't say old school, but now we have to say old school. And one day, those two guys, I was going to Hip Hop Love Soul party, and those two guys, they came to me, CD and Adrian, and they were asking me if I was a journalist or something. every time there is a hip hop event, we see you there. Like, who do you work for? Or are you a journalist? Or are you involved? And I'm like, no, I'm just a hip hop lover, you know? I'm just a hip hop head. And they were like, you're spending all of your money going to all the hip hop events? And I said, yeah, most of the time, yes. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to have friends, you know, they pay for me, or the person who's organizing the event knows me, so they know I support, so they invite me. And they were like, wow. And they were like, okay, you know, we have a webzine, and we are looking for journalists. Are you a journalist? I said, no. They said, but can you write? And I said, yes, I can write. I think I was good at writing at school. I always had like the best grades. And they were asking me if I spoke English, because they said, like, we have like a lot of good connections, but in our team, none of us really speak English. And I was like, yeah, my English is not bad. And they were like, okay, we'll get back to you. So they got my informations, and they said, we'll get back to you, but 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then couple months, still didn't hear from them. And I was like, okay, maybe they were just talking, but I wasn't really counting on that because I didn't know what they were looking for. But you know, patience is the key. 9 or 10 months later, they reached out to me and they were like, hey Lya, are you still interested in being a member of our team? And I'm like, yeah, sure, you know, have nothing to lose. And they said, okay, we have an interview. Adrian will come with you to help you out, and you will see how it goes. No, I'm lying. The first time I went with Adrian to one of his interviews to see how it works. So I saw, and I was like, oh my God, I would never be able to do that. I was stressing out. That was hard to me. But he said, okay, now we're having Helter Skelter, you know, Sean Price and Rock. So we're gonna interview them at the Mammal Shelter. And I was like, wow, okay. So I had my very, very first interview with Helter Skelter. And I was so intimidated because these guys, they don't look nice. When you look at them, they look angry, and it seemed that it was almost like they didn't want to be there, you know. And I was like, okay, hopefully I'm not gonna mess up. And the interview went pretty well, even better than I expected, because it was in 2009, I think. Yeah, I think it was in 2009. And since then, Rock from Helter Skelter is one of my favorite people in New York. He's one of my best friends in New York. And that was just the beginning of like the best adventure of my life. I forgot to mention, but during a year or two, I couldn't go to school because I was taking care of my sick mother. But then I went back to school and I was doing this journalism. I was the best, and I had access to all the shows I wanted to. I could even choose who I wanted to interview, the shows I wanted to go to. There are some artists, I'm like, no, I'm not covering that show. I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And you know, at first, I was just doing the same type of interviews that all those journalists were doing because I wanted to have some credibility. And I thought I was supposed to do like everybody. And I was like, let me just do my own interview. And I had an interview with Fefe before Phoenixy from Science Supercrew, one of the best rap French group. And I prepared the interview my own way. I had like my own way to do the interview. And this interview was a freaking success. Everybody loved it. And like the people, of course, but also, you know, like the venues, the people in the industries. So everybody wanted me to do live reports and then to cover, of course, shows, and also to interview the artists because they loved the way I was doing journalism. And I got the chance even to go overseas to cover some shows or interview artists overseas. Even some other people, they wanted me to do interviews for their uh, website or projects. And I got the chance to meet so many artists: Anthony Hamilton, the Temptations, the Wu-Tang, so many times. And even one day Method Man said, this girl, she even does more Wu-Tang shows than we do. She's more there than us. I was like, okay. I got the chance to cover and to meet Busta Rhymes, Smith and Wesson, Ice Cube, who so many people, Nas, Lauryn Hill. I didn't interview them, but I saw them, Jay-Z and Beyonce. One day I was on the same ferry as Lauryn Hill because I was supposed to cover, and I was like, oh my god. Who did I meet? So many artists, so many artists. Come on, The Far Size. I have so many, I can even tell you. It was such an amazing journey. Naughty by Nature, The Black Street, The Boys to Men, Aretha Franklin. That was just, I don't know. And it came like just like this. That wasn't what I was looking for. I was looking for doing product design, not being a hip hop journalist. And I've been doing journalism for a few years. Then I stopped when I moved to New York because life in New York is crazy, and you have to find a way to live, survive first, and then live. But that was one of the best moments of my life, and still is, because now when I'm having something, I can still reach out those people, those artists that I've met, because I'm friends with some of them. I met Petrog, DJ Premier, I don't know, so many. And I'm not a product designer, as you can see. I moved to New York, and it was never my intention moving to New York back then. My plan was like having a master degree in product design. I have a master degree in graphic design, but not in product design. I wanted to have a master degree in product design, move to the south in France, finding a man while I'm still studying, getting married, having kids in my late 20s. I wanted to be a product designer for Nike or Nokia, and none of these things happened. And I'm so happy for the life that I have today. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be happy. My life would have been different and I would have been a different person. But now I live in New York. I'm not even living my dream, because living in New York was unthinkable for me, So I'm living beyond my dream, and I did so many things. I own a dance studio. I do some modeling. I do some acting. You see me on TV shows. You see me on commercials. I've been performing with like the best artists. I've been on stage with some incredible artists as a dancer. I've been to some music videos. I perform, for MTV. I perform at the Barclays Center. I perform at the Summer Stage in New York. I became friends with people I would never thought about. And just like, I live in New York, and by my window I can see the Empire State Building. Like, that's just crazy, And if I followed the path I wanted to follow when I was a child, I wouldn't be that person. I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the friends that I have today. I wouldn't be a wellness creative. I wouldn't be here helping you with your wellness journey. I wouldn't talk to you right now. I wouldn't meet one of the best people I met in my life. I wouldn't have such an amazing life in New York, which is hard most of the time, but it's really worth it. I wouldn't travel the world because During the time I couldn't study, and even after, I decided to be a graphic designer, not a product designer anymore, because I just needed my laptop, internet connection, my graphic tablet, and I could be on the go. And in my 20s, I didn't spend more than 2 months in France, in Paris. I was always traveling. I traveled around the world. I went to the best beaches ever. I saw the most amazing landscapes ever. I met some amazing people. I became even more open-minded. And all of that because some people, they want to mess up with my life. They didn't want me to succeed. And I went deep down inside. I found the strength, I found the love into my passions, not one but different of my passions. And I went back to painting in 2016, and even that was an amazing journey, and it's still an amazing journey, because when I started to paint again, I sold my first artwork for $500. It's not a lot, but to me it meant everything. I'm like, oh my god, somebody wants to buy my painting. And I wasn't even trying to sell it. And this guy from Australia, he saw it on Instagram because the Wu-Tang reposted it, because it was like a half face of Method Man and Biggie. And then I met some amazing artists I got the chance to work with, who were paying me not well, but paying me, who gave me opportunities, who gave me the confidence enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna sell my art, and who were paying for my ticket who were paying for my tickets just for me to come to help them. I've been painting for fashion weeks, doing some body paintings. Art really saved me, and I really want art to save you. And when I say art, I'm talking, as I said, about dance, about writing, about painting, about modeling, about acting, about playing music, about singing, writing, I said it, about DJing, about playing an instrument, about everything that is artistic, being behind the camera, Art, like when you are at the lowest point, not even the lowest point, when you don't feel good, use the arts. Arts will always save you. Always, 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 always. Trust the arts the same way you trust yourself. And having a passion is just everything. I really encourage you to find a passion, and passion will help you recovering, but also to find a meaning, of your life. It doesn't have to be related to your passion, but it's just gonna help you growing emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and feeling comfortable in your body. Because even if you don't look like the way you want to look like, but the fact that you are doing something that you're passionate about, that helps in you recovering, feeling better, you're gonna feel better in your own skin. So hopefully you love my story. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I'm also gonna post it on other podcasts if you just want to listening without necessarily watching me. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, I need your thumbs up, to share, to comment, and if you want to talk to me about a story of yours, don't forget to email me at contact, CONTACT, at Lya Pouleyy, LYAPOULEYY.com. And my Instagram is Lya Pouleyy, LYAPOULEYY. And if you're interested in my Kamga Ngnie Method, so in the meantime, I wish you a wonderful week. Stay blessed, stay healthy. Don't forget, you are your best friend and your worst enemy. That's very important to do that. And do something that you love. Don't forget to do something that you love. Don't forget to do something that you're passionate about. I see you next week, next Friday, for the third episode. Peace and kiss. Bye.